See it every day. Yeah, I don't know. I have to laugh because people are so contradictory. Um, we're the most over-medicated society in the world, but when it comes taking like a pill for your brain, people don't want to take it. I mean, it's just goofy stuff. And whatever you're doing, whatever people think that's okay. Like I can't, if I drink a case of beer at night, that's okay. But I'm gonna look down at somebody who's smoking pot. Like, okay. I don't know how one's any better than the other, but people seem to think whatever they're doing is acceptable, whatever everybody else is doing isn't. So, like, glad all these people are fit to judge.
Yeah, I came in with our qualifications of being a human being.
Yeah, there's only a few perfect
I like
ones.
that.
There's only a few perfect ones, Mom. My dad always says it's easier to be a saint than live with one.
Yeah.
That's right. Good luck with that. Because can you live with yourself if you're a saint? I mean, think about doing your own stuff.
I'd probably annoy myself.
Yeah, I know. Especially if you let your mental mind get to you and all your little friends up there.
Yeah,
Playing
well,
in your playground.
I just contend everybody's crazy.
Yeah.
It's a matter of how functional you are with your crazy, or how bad is your crazy. But I don't know anybody who's normal. That's why I usually start my talks like, who's I'm gonna say show hands, all the normal people.
Right.
Oh, nobody? Okay, well, good. I'm not alone.
Right.
So my girlfriend said if I was gonna be normal, I was gonna be boring. She's breaking up with me. But I think you're safe. I think you're safe.
Yeah, I think mine is too. Got enough of them. I take mine and into stories, and like I made up this Lily doll. She's got a mannequin, and she was. We had to do it in class. Made up a story with her that she was child abused and was in Avondale when she was 17, and she's got this. So I made her live, and she's got like orange, blue, green hair, and she turned 18 and went out on Zanesville. My teacher was like, "You gonna leave her here over school?" No, she's got to go see town. You know, she's got things to do. She's 18, right?
Right.
And so I come back over after summer quarter and bring her back for child abuse awareness day so we can get a picture with her. They're like, "What happened to her? She's got boobs and she's got no legs." And I'm said, "Well, she, developed. She's 18. She went down to Mardi Gras with her friends, got her beads, lost her legs on the way back, in a car wreck." Like, I'm trying to, things that can happen. So right now she's sitting in a closet ready for a hairdo and everything for the next one. So I got to add another story to it, to keep it going.
Right.
She's got a blue shirt on that says "Stop Child Abuse" and things like that. So I bring it around, when I do presentations. But I just use my creativity like that.
That's great. Good. Well, we should probably go ahead and get started in the interest of time. And I'm Paul. This is Jill has come to share her story with us, and Margaret and Pat, and Ann and
my husband Jerry.
Okay. And this is my husband, Aaron.
all right. Well, good. Well, this is obviously real informal, casual
Yeah.
group, but
It's the easiest one.
yeah.
I've had.
yeah. But anyway, why don't you tell us how you got here?
Okay. Well, let's see. My name. I'll just go ahead and start with my story.
Yeah.
How I was being. My name is Jill Sharrer. I'm a survivor of human trafficking. Like I said, I'll be sharing my story today. My goal is to get you guys to have a better understanding of the trauma and stuff that comes with it, and awareness to the community. I'm 38 years old. I am the only child. My mother and father were 40 years age difference, and so it was very difficult growing up. My dad was an alcoholic. He was in World War II, retired, so he basically raised me. My mom worked all the time. He died when I was 13. I had my first child when I was 17, had my second one when I was 18 after I graduated high school. I stayed at home mom. Because his dad worked all the time, and I did the PTO and all that stuff. Nothing. Church all the time. I ended up having 7 kids by the time I was done. They got taken away from me due to my addiction. 3 of them are adopted out. The other 4 got back with their father. One's in legal custody. I do have a grandbaby now. She's 2. My kids are kind of in my life, but not right fully at this time, my older ones. So after a while, I started drinking. Then the drugs started taking me into other things, and then I started just coming away from the home life, and it took me further and further away. My 5th child is by my trafficker. I didn't know I was going to be like that. I didn't have anything. So when I was out there using drugs, well, after my children had got taken away from me is when my mental illness had taken part. I never had a mental illness clear up until this point, which was 2007. I was diagnosed with bipolar, borderline personality disorder, PTSD, and now OCD. At that time, it was at my breaking point of where my kids were taken. I didn't have a purpose in life, so I just went hog wild. I didn't care what happened. I didn't manage my medicine. On the 4th floor, 3 or 4 times in 1 month. I had to, any more times I was going to be committed to the hospital, but it was back and forth drugs. So I'll be all right. Then the jails. You get back on your medicine, and then it was back to the streets. A vicious cycle just kept going and going. This all came out, the whole vicious cycle from 2008 until 2017. I was in prison due to possession of drug charge. Try to get the mental help and everything. Through my jail times, I did do mental help. There, I got counseling and things like that, but through my prison time, I didn't receive no medication. Came out, got onto my medication. Today, I still receive my monthly appointments and manage it as a low dosage of things, a mood stabilizer and things like that. But I don't go to counseling that much because I feel like I do enough counseling through the community. It's therapeutical for me. Then after I got out of prison, me and my husband got married. Then I still was into the drugs and everything like that. We was homeless until August of last year. It was July of last year that I had went to the Zanesville Church of the Nazarene up there in Blue. It was an evening service. Didn't know where I was going. I was just going to church with my pastor and them. And that's when I had met Lily Paisley. She was doing her presentation on Anchor for Justice for human trafficking, and some of the people that are in human trafficking do come up missing, and she goes and does investigation if the family hires her to. So it kind of goes hand in hand. After she got done with her presentation, I had stood up and said, well, after I'm sitting in a pew and the whole thing is filled, I feel this tug at my heart, and I'm going, no, I ain't standing up in front of this and saying anything about that. You know, I'm arguing with God in the pew there, and he's tugging more at my heart. And if I didn't feel that, I wouldn't have, I thought I was crazy still then. But I kept looking around and arguing back and forth, and it got stronger, and I'm going, these people are going to think, judge me. I've been judged carrying this label all my life anyways because I didn't deal with the situation of things. So finally I'm like, okay, if this is what I'm supposed to do, I give in. And so I finally stood up and I said, I confirm everything that she has said. It is here in the town. I'm a survivor, and I'm glad somebody is recognizing it. I told her I would more than welcome to help and start sharing my story. As that went on for a year, on and off, we was living under a 719 bridge. I had signed up for college for Zane State, getting ready to start in August, and I was like, okay, how am I going to do schoolwork here in the woods? I can't make a table. I could make a table out of a log, but where's the light going to come from? it was a very difficult time right at that time to be homeless and living on a bridge. You know, we bathed in the water and things. We were still battling addiction and things like that too. At the time, we kind of torn between which side to go on. Then I moved in with a family member, and I sit there and I said, okay, if I'm going to go out into public and tell my story, that means I have to change my way of thinking, my way, you know, being as an old person, or I'm just standing up here being fake. There's no purpose of me wasting my time and their time. So it took a couple of times for me. It didn't happen overnight. It was a couple months or so. I've seen a major growth in me since the August of last year, but I started doing that. And of course, you know, God has tricks. At my first presentation in Philo, it's down to American, I think it's Legion. Basically all men. And I'm like, I know eventually one day I'm going to have to face somebody that I had out there on the streets. Yes, that happened. I did face them. But I remember you look a lot better than the streets. I'm glad I look a lot better. Thank you. You know, things are running through my mind about like, okay, I don't remember you. Thank God. You know, but that's kind of how today, you know, I go out and do presentations on my story. I spread the awareness. It's not to put anybody into jail, because that's not my position to bring that part up. I'm just out here to share my story, strength, and hope, and to give the next person and that, and you know, meet them right where they're at, and just to bring. It's okay. You just because you're in that bad situation, you're still alive, and you can still be hope for you. I want to start my own nonprofit after I will be graduating college May the 7th. Social work. I want to start my own nonprofit. Hopefully rebound to bound to deal with. As we're rebounding, we're bouncing back and forth. We have no boundaries. To come into boundaries where we start giving our self-care that we're human and this is acceptable, is what my mission, I think, of my nonprofit. So back out now, I'll tell you some of the terrific things that happen out on the streets. I didn't know I was going to be trafficked, didn't know I was trafficked until afterwards. My trafficker is very ruthless. I've had my jaw broke, my head cut, my nose broke. My jaw's never been rewired because, of course, I was on the run didn't want to go to county jail for another year. So I would be out there on the streets every half an hour to the minute. I had a quota that I had to bring back to my trafficker. If I didn't meet that quota or was too long or whatever, it doesn't matter. I didn't know the extent of beatings, punishments, or whatever. It could be maybe a punch in the face. It could be having sex in front of him with other men, or whatever he came up with in his mind that was a punishment or pleasure to him for that. I met a lot of nice women out there on the streets, very nice personalities and things like that. They're just trapped in this cycle here. I've been raped out on the streets by people I used to inquire that would go to motels so that I could have a soft bed to lay on, so that I could at least get a shower. They tell us when to shower, bathe, eat. I didn't get any of my money. I made almost roughly around $3,000 a day out there, being out every half an hour. I got enough drugs just to keep me going so I wouldn't be sick. A lot of these girls out here, some of them are not on drugs when they get out here. They are drugged to get there. As the human trafficking is a $300 billion profit a year, and they can't really get a number on it because they don't know how much is really going on. They just do an estimate. These girls out here, you have a groomer, which will groom the person to what they're supposed to be like. It's a business, like ordering shoes off of JCPenney's online. You put your order in and what kind of type of person you want to have these pleasurable moments with, and the recruiter goes out and finds this person for you. So if they have to put something in their drink to get that person, they will, or whatever it takes to manipulate. There's the gorilla pimp, he's like all mean and stuff, and then there's the other one that says, oh, it's okay, I can give you better than what your family, because they get them at vulnerable times in their life. They attacked the youth out here because we have so many youth out on the street right now, and they're vulnerable. They run away from their parents, they are doing whatever, and these guys see them and they pick them up. And it's like we give out bags to some of the girls and stuff out on the streets. They're personal bags. They're handmade crafting the bath bags. We put personal items in there that they don't get. And there will be a watchman down the road watching, make sure that they get into the cars, right time, right car, right back at the right place. When we do give these bags out, they will watch it, see what everything is going on. And when they take it back, the trafficker will go through everything, but we hide like little numbers and stuff and like tampons and stuff like that. The girls are so excited to get that because that's all they have out there. Like I was saying, we don't get baths because most of these places where we're kept at don't have electric, don't have water. If they do, you have to pay extra to like a motel. Most of the time, there's nothing in these houses at all. If you have clothes there, other girls will probably take it. If you go to jail, you come back out with nothing because you left it there and everybody took it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like one of my major things when I was thinking about that situation is when you get out of county jail locally here, that we can have a personal item like that, just the essentials that they can take home when they get released. I think it's terrible that they have to get back out at midnight and 6 o'clock in the morning because that's the hottest time of the hours to make money, in downtown Zanesville, and you're getting released back there. Where are they gonna go? But what they know. I don't know. Nothing would be like, just pick them up right when they get released, give them that little, 6-hour window with them. Hey, here's your resources, here it is, you're okay. And whatever they do after that, at least you planted a seed, and spent 6 hours with them. But them are some of my things. We don't go to the doctors out there. So there's a lot of spread of STDs. But if you would get caught with an STD, you would get beat up, of course, because now you ruined the whole business operation, and it's crazy how this is a human person, but we're talking a business, It was said that, you can use drugs once, but a woman gets repeatedly sold over and over and over and over again. I've heard many times people like 30 times sold a night, and then you don't even get baths or nothing in between that. You don't know what you contracted. A lot of these guys that come and get us are out of county guys because they're not recognized down here. Some of them are married men. Some of them are just, out there looking for, they're sick. So the STD thing is, if this man sleeps with this woman out there on the street, takes it home to the wife. Now the wife's got it, the kid, the unborn child. Because we don't go get our medical card. We sell our food stamps, stuff like that. We're not gonna take time to go to Job and Family Services to redo it. So they just don't go. So there's a lot of health issues out there with these people. Also, now you've got trauma going to a person. So now they got mental health issues coming on to them. That's another thing I would like to try to implement to start would be getting STDs checked here locally in the local city and county jail because we don't get tested for none of that. You have to in prison, so why can't we do it locally? They're away from everybody. They're in their own little dorm. Go in there like they're doing a regular physical, check them out. If they got it, treat them while they're in there. It's a health thing. It would prevent a lot of people from getting the spreads of other things. A lot of people just think of Hep C and HIV. Well, you got all the other You know, you got gonorrhea, you got trick, you got all that other stuff that comes that men don't think they have because they don't have really signs of it. So I don't know, that's one of my goals on this thing of it. But being out there, very cold nights, all kind of weather, no food. You learn to adapt not to eat with food till it was given to you. You learn not to sleep because you had to work all the time. Yeah, it was like, oh, I see you're getting sick now because you've been up so many days and your body's physically wearing down. You can take a day off. Day off, really? I'm at a job? This is a job? Okay. You only take a day off to go spend with your trafficker to do the same things just then. A lot of these girls get it off the internet. When I was in prison, girls were hooking up with guys off the internet. They got their names off of there. They would talk to them over the phone, send them money, and then get off of prison and be with them. And so it don't stop when you go to prison either with the guys. They still get people's kids' pictures, recruit them, you know. So it's a punishment, but it's not a punishment because it's still happening, can happen. A lot of the girls do it privately now. That means they just like go over the internet, make their phone call, and they go to the house or whatever they set up as a motel. They don't walk the streets as much. There is solo girls out there. Them are the girls that are renegades. They have been into it, like their parents have done it, their mom, their aunts, and all that. The whole family has done it, and they choose because they don't know any other or don't want to. You know, it's just a family thing. But they usually don't have a person to report back to or their money. As the human trafficking definition is, you know, a crime involved in exportation of someone for the purpose of compelled labor or commercial sex act through the use of force, fraud, and coercion. And so I pulled this up because a lot of people say prostitution and human trafficking are the same thing. Or some people say human trafficking is you're taking it from one country to the next or one state to the next. And some of these girls out here don't even know what county they're in. They just keep going. They don't even know what day it is. They don't, you're just in like this, I want to say zombie thing, like you're in this mode. And some of these things that you have to do with these people, you basically have to be high to do them, or you couldn't do it. And once they get hooked on the drugs, it's hard to come off because this trafficker is all they see because now the drugs is over their body. That's all they need is this drugs. This guy's like gonna give them everything, promises the world to them, and sometimes you get flashy colors, you know, and all this new stuff and show that, but then it turns around. So I got out of human trafficking by, I was standing on Ridge Avenue one night, it was pitch black, and I'm sitting there going, okay, God, either the next person that picks me up kills me, or I get picked up by the sheriff and go to jail. One or two, but I cannot do this anymore. Scared to death to leave, scared to death. Yeah, my family's been threatened, things like that. Why didn't I take it seriously? I did take it seriously because of what he'd done to me. And they will come after your family and things because you're taking away their business, their income, their only means of living. It's all about control, power, and what they own. Girls get branded out there. They get their names and stuff on them. That's just to show ownership, like, this is my girl, don't. I know out here, it was like, this is my corner, you can't be here on my corner, you have to go to an empty corner. We used to fight over which corner to go to. That's crazy, you know, I mean, you fight over a corner, but that's the way it was here. There is people out, that group, survivors that have the branding, they can get a free cover up and stuff. Like I said, I don't have to live with that anymore. So I'm out there and it's dark, nothing happens. I'm like, okay, I go home. It's a couple hours later, maybe even the next day, the sheriffs did come and pick me up, and I did have to do a year in the county jail. This is my second time doing a year in a county jail for violation of probation. So that's how I got out of my situation of human trafficking, thank God. And that's when I met my husband and we went from there. I have not been bothered by my human trafficker since then. He's currently in prison right now on a domestic violence for 5 years, on his mother that's, wheelchair bound and stuff, and it's ruthless out there. I mean, the extent of trauma, physical, mental, emotional abuse that you go out there is, you just can't even imagine it. What I went through, that might not be the same extent to the next individual that's out there, or it might be more. I know today, like, I still have flashbacks, I still have the nightmares, I got screwdrivers and everything in my windows and stuff because of paranoia. Not that I ever think anybody's gonna come after me, but I'm out here doing this and talking, it's just protection to make me feel safe. But of course, you know, when you have a mental illness, dual diagnosis with things, it's very difficult also to treat everything. Especially with the borderline personality disorder not having a medication to be treated with, and to go with bipolar, you don't know which way you're coming or going sometimes, and it's like you gotta step back. And I lost myself out there. I lost everything. I lost all my kids, I lost my home, I lost my family, I lost myself, I lost reality. It took a long time for me to incorporate. I didn't go through no treatment or no extensive care, just outpatient mental health stuff that I already knew that I needed. So back to how the laws and stuff see as human trafficking. That's pretty much about my story. You know, I don't go into too much of the horrifying detail of the rapes and things like that, because I'm sure everybody can imagine what it can be like, you know, to have that happen and the things that have to do. But most of these girls are not out there because they want to. They got taken out there, they got drugged out there. Some of it's because of using drugs and seeing the other and just started doing it. But my thing about it is, they're just not a girl just selling their body. They're somebody's daughter, somebody's mother, and stuff. And that's where the stigma comes. Like, I think we should just recognize and know that they're still a human being and they're still a life, whether we're biased against it or not. And that's all they need is just care and somebody to help. That's like one of my major things, I think, because when I was out there, I wish that somebody would have just been like, hey, step in here, you know. So I guess I pour all my heart into that, thinking this is what I would have done if this would have happened. But the children out there are getting about as much as the adults are out there now. The youngest is, I think, 12. The average age is 12. I don't know, it just scares me about our children having to be sold for things out there because of the economy, not having means to pay your rent or drugs or whatever, it may be the situation. But it's some of the signs and stuff of somebody being human trafficking, a lot is going into the mental health field, because they're usually brought into mental health, and the professionals are the ones usually seeing them, but they're brought in with their trafficker, so they don't get recognized. So that's when we need to start educating our psychiatrists and stuff like that. When I say psychiatrist, I guess it'd be the intake person, the case manager, the warning signs and stuff of that. I didn't realize that because I didn't go to doctors and stuff out there, you know me, I'm self-medicated. So I didn't realize how much actually they do go into professional fields and ask for help. They will not ask for help, a victim won't, because they're so fearful and scared to ask. But some of the common work and living conditions of an individual, this is recognizing the signs. Not free to leave or come at will. Under 18 is provided commercial sex acts. Commercial industry have a pimp or manager. Unpaid, paid very little, or paid only through tips. Work long hours. I'm trying to figure out the ones that would actually hit us here. Experiences verbal or physical abuse by a supervisor. These are pretty much like what would happen at the, like massage, booths and things that they have, the stores they got. A lot of them are traffickers, labor traffickers. There's also organ traffickers. You know, they sell their organs on the black market over in China and stuff. It's crazy, I don't know how that would, but that is happening. They have poor mental health and abnormal behavior. Like I said, they're fearful, anxious, depressed, submissive, tensive, nervousness, paranoid. They don't, after bringing up to law enforcement, they're fearful and anxious. There's substance abuse, so they're dual diagnosis. We do not have a protocol here. We barely have a coalition. There's only like 2 of them running the coalition. I'm on it, I'm the recruiter, but I can't keep nobody staying there. We can't get nowhere. We've been a year, I've been on it for a year and can't get nobody wants to get a protocol. I don't have enough staff, nobody wants to stay committed. So that's a major thing. I had a couple girls got rescued, come out of it, call me. I have nowhere to put these girls. We don't have no safe house here. I'm trying to get the churches and stuff to start a safe house, to put them, Cedar Ridge and them guys, they're so overbooked with regular recovery. We can't even put the girls there, and they don't want to usually deal with it because of the stipulations that come with it. We don't even have a rescue. I mean, it takes a lot of, it takes a lot to rescue a victim from human trafficking. And a lot of power because you need to, first of all, you need to be trained because you don't know what kind of drugs they're coming off of, what kind of trauma they're going through, what their state of mind they're in right there. So we need a mental health person, a counselor, a physical doctor, a case manager. I mean, even to open up a safe house would be all these, and it has to be somewhere like the transition where nobody knew to protect.
For safety reasons.
And because these, like I said, this is their means. You're taking everything away from them when you rescue a girl or a girl comes out of it. So that's another thing here. I wish we had a safe house, like a recovery house, to at least know that there's something here. But it takes money, it takes funds, it takes buildings, it takes somebody to organize it, to know what is really going on. And it just, nobody can just jump in and do it. You have to have special training. I still have to have training on trauma-informed care and stuff like that, especially in the mental state of it. Thank God I took that mental health first aid. You know what I mean? I had that background there too, but other people don't understand that, especially if they're schizophrenia or whatever, how to talk to them. And the drugs playing a part of it too, makes another person somewhere. So I went and spoke at some churches here in the last month or so. I brought it up to them, trying to get somebody, some thought to get something organized going on, because I didn't hear nothing back from these girls, so I figured they probably went back out. We lost them. So we always refer them up to Polaris, Columbus, but they just opened a safe house up in Columbus. Out of the Darkness, I think it's called. It's taken off really good. But there is safe houses other in Ohio, but it's just transportation, and usually they don't want to go out of their county because they're scared and they're not trusting you. You're the only person they're trusting, and you're lucky they're trusting you. So it's a lot of things that play in. The other signs, they have poor health, you know, like hygiene and stuff like that. They have lack of control, and their knowledge, the whereabouts, they don't know where they are. They appear to have lost sense of time. And things like that. That was just some of the signs of human trafficking, but it kind of goes in with like any kind of domestic abuse, child abuse or stuff. Some of the signs are the same. So back to the children thing is, the U.S., these recruiters or whatever, they prey upon children in the foster care system. And recent reports have constantly indicated that the large number of victims of the children are coming from was once in foster care. There's been a high number of foster care parents selling the children out of their homes and things. Avondale, I fear for them children down there because they don't have no guidance and nowhere to go. Our youth here have no life skills. We have so many youth that are homeless and don't know what to do, and that's when they get them at the vulnerable time at that state. And it's getting to be more, like I said, the males are getting to be just as much as the females now. They're getting to be sold just as frequently.
Really?
Yeah, and that blew my mind too. Like, really, you're selling these boys just as much as girls are wanted? Like, what's
Right.
really going on
Right.
out here? You know, so it's like the traffickers may be family members, recruiters, employees, strangers. It doesn't matter who they are. They're anybody, you know, that can do this. So it's a national thing. They do it, you know, it's happening all over the world. And we do have national laws to help with the thing. We also have Ohio laws here to do with it, so victims can go and be protected and things like that. And here's one of the needs of a victim of a human trafficking. Say we rescue somebody, then there needs to be safety, of course, housing, food, clothing. There might be translation of languages, just depending. There also the health with the, you know, sexually transmitted disease. They might be pregnant, not even know it. A lot of these girls' menstrual periods mess up. They don't know. Some of them have female problems with their organs and stuff like that from the drug usage. And you gotta have long-term housing. You gotta have legal assistance, an advocate, medical care, mental health, substance abuse, life skills, education. Basically, you basically have to retrain them as like this adult is actually a baby, learn life all over again. So like I said, it takes a lot in a safe house to put, to operate one, to even start doing that. Then you don't even know how many people are gonna get to serve. So it's gonna be, you know, hit and miss type thing also. As here it says, 2017, there was a report of minors, 86 of them. 2018, there was 187 potential. 11 of them were male. Under 18 was 41. 6 of them were 13 and younger. That was just known. So God only knows how many really is out there that called in to that. And I don't know, it's just amazing because these numbers are going up. We're the 4th state in trafficking. And our numbers are doubling, and I don't get it. Why? Maybe because all the interstates or stuff that's going on here. I have no clue. I haven't figured that one out yet, but our numbers are starting to go up. The identification of victims of human trafficking was 92. 354 identified, and 92 of them was human trafficking. So that was in 2017 to 2019. There was a grant agreement for that. I know they did work into the teachers and stuff now have to have training on this. That's also another thing, because these kids don't know nothing. They barely know life right now, as it's bad enough in reality what's going on now. They're being trafficked, and so here's I got the national hotline and stuff like that. So my thing, you know, it can be doable. People can survive it. I'm just out here basically telling my story, whatever interests people. I ain't shy about it. I don't really hide nothing anymore. Like I said, I don't get into it too deep because some people, I don't know what it'll trigger on them. Also, sometimes there's things I think I dealt with and it comes up and I didn't deal with it. I gotta go a little deeper. But I think with our community, it's very hard. We have law enforcement that's involved. We have, you know, there's always dirty cops, bad cops, good cops. It's everywhere. But I think if we could get a team put together and stuff and recognizing more awareness, with everything it plays into impact. Like I'm trying to take it into social work, like this is a new thing, it needs to be taught. You need to have recognizing signs and stuff like that. We need a protocol set up here. That means we need someone, when somebody gets a call, who we call next, where they go. We don't have that. We need to, we need people to stay committed, to recognize it and to say, yes, it's here. We might not think of it as human trafficking because some, like the major cities, of taking them in box trucks and taking them from here to there. But it's here. It's just another, I guess, a smaller version of bigger cities. So that's all I have. And yeah, mental health does play a major part of it, and it lasts for the rest of their life. I know I deal with it for the rest of my life, especially with the PTSD and the nightmares and stuff like that. Affect me. If I have certain remembrance, sometimes a smell, or I won't go down Ridge Avenue by myself anymore. I will not travel that way. I don't drive anyways, but I'm like, thank God, because when I'm riding with somebody going that way, it comes back up on me. Not the remembrance of going back out there or anything, it's just like this is where I came from, and it sees me more like, okay, I've survived. Now how am I going to help the next person to survive the trauma? And like I said, my story may not be as intense or deep, and everybody's is out there different, just like in any other story. So we never know how bad it really is. You know, we will never know until we can walk in their shoes, but I just want to show compassion and stuff for that, and that's all I'm here for doing. But that's basically my story and a little bit of information on human trafficking. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Yeah, when you have a trigger for your PTSD, how does that manifest itself? What's that do?
If I think, I think about doors and windows. I will not sleep by a door or window. I've been this way ever since a little child, so I don't know if something had happened then. I don't have remembrance of it, but somebody had left the window open at one time in my house. We was gone, and there was another person staying with us, and they was there, but they was like, no, we didn't open it. You had to open, before you left. And I'm like, no, because I shut all my windows. I know exactly. I'm weird. That's where the OCD comes in. You know exactly where everything is, and you know when something's new. And I come back, and my window was open in my bedroom, and I flipped out. Like, I would not go back into my apartment. I couldn't, and it felt like an elephant sat on top of my chest. I was out in my parking lot going, oh my God, they trapped me. I can't get out. Like, I knew my body was moving and stuff, and I was functional, but in my mind, I was like trapped in my body, that I couldn't move, that they was gonna get me. And it's like, through a lot of talk, my husband helped me talk, calm down, it's okay, so they're not gonna get, yeah, they are. I couldn't even get close to my apartment. It was a couple hours before I did even manage to get in. A lot of it today, I don't hide what I feel. Used to be, I wouldn't tell somebody, like, I feel depressed right now, or I put that fake face on, and like, okay. It still affects me today about depression, and it kind of hits me hard now that I'm older, because I'm like, and doing different things. It takes me where I'm sleeping in bed a day or two and not realizing what just happened. But being able to recognize your own feelings and when it starts is the best way, and actually voice it to somebody to get the help is the best way. I know our counselors and everything are over extreme, so we have to rely onto our support network, things like that. So anymore, I just call like my mom up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Mom, I just heard a noise. I'm in my apartment alone while he's at work, and I know it's nothing. Just like the other day, I come up out of bed, the refrigerator is making a weird noise. I came out of the study room, and I'm going, hey, wake up, wake up. The refrigerator is making a weird noise, and I know nobody's out there, but it sounds like somebody's out there, and he's like, oh my God. And I'm like, I just had to have him do it. In my mind, I know it's really nothing there, but it's telling me. And the feeling of it is just like you can't get over it. It's such an urge of paranoia, but I deal with it. Now, used to be I self-medicated, like, okay, let's go get high, because I don't want to feel. I never wanted to feel. But feeling's okay, you know, it's okay to cry and stuff. I was never taught to cry growing up as a kid. Okay, I'm brushing your hair, you cry, I'm gonna smack you in the back of the head, you're not allowed to cry. You're supposed to just play in your room, be quiet. You know, so then I think about, well, is that why I cry so much now? You know what I mean? But I just accept it today. And a lot of my recovery is acceptance of who I am and knowing that this was me here and the drugs changed me and this is me today. Like, I had to accept all that transition, like, because I still wanted to be this person back here and thought I was capable of still being this person. But I had to understand, no, because, you know, the chemicals and the brains and all this, and growing older, it changes you, and you have to grow within yourself. Like, you grow with a couple, you have to grow, adapt to your own self. So I guess that's how it happened with me. I mean, people ask me how I came out of it, how all this happened. Don't ask me, it just continuously kept going, you know. It didn't happen overnight, it's just one thing after another, and I just grew. That's how I deal with mine. I hate my medicine, yes, I do. I hate taking it every day, yes, I do. I don't want to be on it all the rest of my life. It's acceptance thing, because sometimes you get your depression or something talking to you like, why you gotta take a pill to be this way? Why can't somebody accept you for who you are? Why do you have to be this way? Why can't you be up? Why can't you be down? Why can't you cry? Why do you have to have that normal, you know, they say, that baseline, you know, behavior? And, you know, it does talk to me, and I have to sit there and go, because if I step off this, I'm gonna go back to jail. Or if I take my medicine, I'm gonna physically hurt somebody and be angry. You know, I have to remind myself, like, this is the consequences. Sometimes I may skip a day, I'll be honest. I may skip a day or two, and then my teacher's like, Jill, did you take your medicine this morning? I'm going, God, I gotta go to college now, they remind me of taking it. But it's okay. Like, when I'm at school and stuff, like, they don't understand mental health. Even though we're in social work class, we take abnormal psych and stuff like that, just the basic. But to encounter it's a whole different thing. And so I just make jokes with it. Like I said, with my Lily doll and stuff, I just come off and make crazy little things when I'm in different personalities. They used to make fun of me because I changed clothes so much. And I changed my outfits. Like, I used to, like, after here, I'd go home and change again. I changed a different personality. I want to be somebody else, you know? So I just go, okay, what outfit you gonna put on today? Who you gonna be today? You know, make myself happy. And once I do that, it's okay. I just play along with it, and it's smooth to me. That's me, but it might not work for y'all. But what's the sense in it? I mean, we only got this moment, so we might as well be happy in it. I hate it. You know, I mean, that's the honest truth, you know what I mean? Yeah. But either hate it or go with it.
Do you ever have, memories that you buried, maybe because it was too traumatic, and then to come back to you?
I don't know, because my mom had mentioned that I was molested by my dad, but I don't remember remembrance of it. I do remember some, wanting curiosity of sexual things at a very young age. So I took it up to my counselor, you know, and things like that, and they said, well, you know, that's why you're sex addict, you know, it is another disease, and that's why I took out to the road stuff, because I was introduced in a very young age. But I don't remember, you know, so I don't know if it's false memory, you know, or there is times, like when my jaw hurts and stuff, it just takes me back to that incident when it did happen, where it happened, you know, across from school, that road where it happened. I have flashbacks there. But I don't know if there's any that I buried to bring back up, you know, but sometimes it keeps me in that moment, like that drowsy, like, ugh, for a day or so, and it's hard to get through sometimes of the trauma, but it's easier as it goes on, and as I understand more of it and learn more of myself, it gets easier. There's times I will have nightmares and be screaming in the middle and not even remember the dream, but I knew it was a trauma from there. Some of the things, remind me of a lot of it back there, because it was a major part of my life. Like I said, I started when I was 21 using drugs, and I'm 38, and I'm a year clean, so it's like, that's a big chunk of life. Especially going from 16 to a mother, and then into that, I didn't have time to be an adult or learn certain things growing up. So that was all I knew. Somebody asked me about being professionalism. I said, professionalism? That's a pregnant, barefoot, baby on the hip and pushing a stroller on the other side of the railroad tracks. And they're looking at me like, that's my professionalism. You know what I mean? It really is, because that's all I know. I talk about going out to the streets and talking about slang and stuff. Okay, I understand that personally, you know. They're like, it's not going to happen overnight. I don't know how professional I can be, but I'll try. You know, I wasn't raised like that. You know what I mean? I was raised, you know, you respect your elders and things like that, but my dad was racist, and so that was another thing. I didn't know the other cultures and things. Like, I told my dad passed away. Then I was like, wow, why? We're all human, but I had to grow up being that way. So I wasn't exposed to a lot of things. I was, but I wasn't. I started manipulating at a very young age. Just saying, I realized that one too, because Dad would be drunk and I'd be like, Dad, can I have some money? Can I have a credit card go down? That's when you could use to write notes down at Fred's Market to go get a pack of cigarettes. Like, your mom could write your note and go get your pack of cigarettes, you know? And I'm like, wait a minute, I was manipulating at a very young age. No wonder, you know? Things like that, you know, you sit back. But I never really, my thinking for change didn't happen until present when I took that brief intervention. Thinking for change, it's a very good recovery thing, but it has nothing to do with drugs. I mean, it does, but it don't go into like the chemicals and the brains. It actually has to do on your first thought process, like of anything. And if you change that thinking, it'll change the outcome. And it helped me understand a lot about why I thought and why I reacted and did things based on the beliefs and values as I grew up and changed. But that's when I really started changing my mind and really realizing my whole life of things. But I don't know. I don't really think I have too much, you know, other than certain noises or.
Well, you mentioned flashbacks. Do you freeze then, or what's your reaction to a flashback?
Usually I just kind of like, okay, it's, you know, nothing. Like, sometimes I'll wake up out of the sleep and I'm like looking around, you know, like, where am I at? And that type of thing. He'll ask me like, I won't repeat it because I don't want to go through it again. Now going through jail and having this trauma, like coming right off the streets to jail, it was horrible. Like, cause I didn't know how to cope with it. I didn't know no coping skills. I didn't know what to do. So I'm like, I get up in jail, there's nobody here that I can comfort besides myself, and there's walls, and I don't know what I just went through, or I don't know what I just dreamed, a nightmare. So how am I gonna do with it? So you sit there and you worry, and it comes back and keeps coming back in your head. It repeats itself in mine. So I learned how to pray. That's when I learned how to pray. The more I prayed, the more my thoughts changed as that. But it's very, very difficult to deal with your mental illness in jail cell or prison if you're not getting treated, especially with dual diagnosis, because we don't know how to cope anyways. We're using the drugs to self-medicate ourselves, and we don't know what we got, so we're just used to that and staying in that type of person. So it's very hard, and I'm sitting there trying to think, like, give them this help. I mean, they don't have to receive it all the time, but if you plant that seed in there of whatever it is, of a coping skill, a life skill, or just, hey, how you doing type seed, and be like, that person really cared today. I mean, we might be better people. I mean, somewhere down the line. I don't think it's ever going to happen in my lifetime, but if we start planting, they might grow somewhere. But yeah, it's very difficult, and people don't understand that. Well, you're away from everything. Why can't you do this and that? And especially when you can't afford your medicine while you're in there too. That's another major thing also. And then you learn how to cope that way, adapt that way. But then when you come back out, how do you readapt? We don't have the readaptation skills. But that's, my bipolar is what really messes me up. Like, I'll be manic for days. I'll go in the doctor's, my psych, and I was having this problem over the summer of being angry, physical. Like, I'm like, man, it's about to get physical. I need help. You know, I don't want it to go that far. I'm trying to cope with it. And he was like, I come in, he's like, how's your anger? Not how you doing. I'm like, I ain't killed nobody yet, right? I'm still good, you know? And he's like, okay. And so he could put me on this one medicine, and I see him every month. And I came back in, and I was just laughing, joking with him and everything. He said, how long you been like this? I said, gosh, I'm happy now, and you're telling me, asking me how long I've been like this. I was like, since last time I seen you? Oh, the medicine did a reverse effect on you. I'm like, oh, great. Now I'm finally happy. Now you're mad about it. It was like a win-win. He was just worried that I was up on my manic. The medicine made me there also, and I would crash, be too, I'm like, no, I'll fix myself to go to sleep. You're not going to put me on the hospital. I will fix myself to go to sleep. Them little tricidines you give me, well, that's what's going to happen, and he's looking at me like, maybe I shouldn't be saying this. He might put me there anyways. But it's good to have that kind of relationship with your psychiatrist about it. This is the first time I've ever stayed this long. Usually the first month I get them pills, I'm back and gone. Okay, I did that for the PO. I got that taken care of. Let's go back to this route. It's just a vicious cycle of everything. But I feel more comfortable now that I have that relationship with him, that I could be open and say them things and actually get the help that I need. Because I'm like, man, I don't want to be a guinea pig. That's that bad thing on us, that they don't know what to try, because every medicine don't work the same for everybody. And I was on Depakote I had a good combination of drugs, and I was on Depakote for a good while, and it just made me right here. And I went to the county, got off of it, came back out. It was maybe 6 months later after I stopped it, came back out, and I was allergic to it. Swelled up my throat and everything. My body had changed. Like now I'm allergic to a lot of the mental health medicine, like Abilify and all that, so it's very hard now too. And it's kind of weird because I wasn't, and this is what worked for me before when I wasn't going every month, now today I'm allergic to a lot of the medicines, and this is not what's working because of my body. And it's probably because of the drugs not interacting with it, also. But we changed. I'm like, I really like that level. I could say level, like you got me used to it. Now my body don't want it. I'm like, great.
That was
now
the
what?
Depakote made you level?
Yeah, it was Depakote 1500 extended release I was on. But it made me just like this, I could cry a little bit, but not real feel it real. But it just made me level. Like I didn't have my ups and downs, and I like my ups and downs. I don't like being down as far, but I like my ups more sometimes. So I start running around to be a squirrel and running around there. I do that a lot too. Sometimes, like my son was like, "Mom, it's comical in your apartment." I'm like, "Why?" Well, you got your husband running around with chicken with head cut off, and you got you over here starting 5,000 different projects that never gets done, and he has to finish them, and you guys are like, because he has OCD and stuff too. And it used to be funny because he would make me mad, and I'd be like, all right, make me mad, I got you. I'd move a knick-knack like that and sit back and watch and wait. And then I got OCD. Yeah, so
how is it? Yeah.
So it was like I sit there and he would sit there for hours trying to put it back and forth, and I'd laugh like, I got you, I got in your mind now. Mess with me, make me mad one more time, and now I got it. So it's like we constantly battle because he wants it this, 2 inches over here, and I think it needs to be 2 inches over here. Trying to make a bed. Yeah, we don't stay in the same room making it. Like I'll let him make it, but I can't be in there. Things like that. And and my son's OCD, but he's germaphobe. He's more, all three of us in the household, I'm going, this is gonna be fun. Real fun here. And he thinks that you have to utilize space. And he believes that you don't need to be on no medication, no doctors, you can do it all by your mind. And I'm like, okay.
One of those.
Yeah, one of those. And he's like, Mom, I support you all the way if you gotta be on your medication, but I don't wanna be on none of that. But I'm not telling you get off of it either, it was one of those things, and I'm going, okay. But this ought to be fun, all three of us in here, with it. But none of my family, I don't know if they ever was diagnosed, because it was back in the older days of mental health abuse. I can see some traits of it, but I can't fully say. Like I said, my father's side of the family, they was all dead by the time I was born. It's horrible to say, but I don't know, none of that side of the family, even if they had traits of it or not. So I'm like the black sheep of family, like on my mom's, because none of them have anything wrong you know? And I'm the only one that's went to jail, prison, and on medicine out of the whole family,
You're
so
a leader.
I'm special. I'm the special creative.
Unique.
Yeah, I am very unique and creative. Very. I have thousands of ideas. And I like that about my bipolar and stuff like that because I think out of the box some things that people don't see. And I always got thousands of ideas. I just don't know what to do with them. But like I said, with the STDs and things like that, that's just been an idea, something I seen and went through that could happen for somebody else. So I just put it out there and hopefully somebody else takes it and runs with it, tweaks it, do whatever they need to help. But I'm like, we can do the needle exchange. Why can't we do, you know, anything else to help these STDs? Why can't we, you know, help it? We're not, reality is we're never gonna stop it. It's been going on forever, drugs and all of it. Curb it, you know what I mean? Just help it, curb it, and accept it. That's what I think. I mean, I'm not for it and I'm not against it, but what are we gonna do? You know, wait till the world comes to an end, and but we'll never see that because it's to an end. So.
But you were indicating that counseling has been helpful?
I don't go to counseling now, but
Yeah.
I'm more open with people. Like, I'll tell my counselor, like, hey, this is the way I feel right now, this, you know, help me. Before I kept it sheltered because I was embarrassed. I didn't want to act like that. I didn't want to, man, why do I gotta be this crazy today or this different, you know, I mean, I didn't, because the stigma, I guess you want to say, because people want you to act certain ways. Society makes you who you are sometimes. And, but counseling didn't really, I get counseling over physical therapy now. And I like that idea that they have a counselor in physical therapy. That way you can go there and just, you know, get done with physical therapy. You can go right there and there's not a wait or nothing like that. But it's not coping skills or not. It's just somebody to talk to, basically. I'm not learning coping skills or not like that because I know them, you know, and I'm like, they really don't work. I really don't use them, so let's not try them, you know, and that's just the truth of them. And I think a lot of people are like that too. They go to the appointment, they learn that stuff and just leave it there, you know. So counseling does help, but it don't. It did help me with certain things, like when I had questions, like I said, with sexuality and stuff like that, addiction, things like that. My mom used to be like, I know something was said and done, and she tried to train my brain the other way that, no, I'm crazy, and, you know, I'm going back and forth in my head, like, am I really crazy? Did that really just happen or not? You know, that was the thing, like, you know, you had to learn it was the other person. It wasn't your problem. And that's what I think a lot of us do. We don't own our own, we own somebody else's. So, counseling's good. I believe it's just an individual thing. You have to find the right counselor that you can connect with.
Yeah.
You know, and the counselor has to care. And that's the bad thing with, you know, going into social work. I'm like, man, now I know why we have the bad name. You know, because they're overcrowded too, and they didn't think it's what they wanted, or they're just there for the paycheck. But there's some out there that really compassion, but good luck finding them, you know. And I think that has a lot to do with an individual's recovery and mental health. Is that and the support system. I mean, I think we need a lot more support systems here in town, but I think it has to do with commitment. People wanting to stay committed to a person to help them, you know. I know the AA and stuff like that, they're pretty, you know, got their little group committed and stuff like that, but I'm thinking, you know, we don't have nobody out here advocating for people, you know, or like activities to do with certain types of group, like bipolar group can go and learn, you know, activities together to have them. You know, we need more things like that, and I feel like it'll help the community support more, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But finding the place, time, resources, and people is the thing that we have problems with everywhere.
Yeah, well, I know, at least with mental health and addiction, people, well, they chose to do that, or they're faking it, or, you know, they could just snap out of it, or whatever.
Right.
So there's very little compassion, or people don't feel the need to support it because they just need to get it together.
Yeah, get it together.
Yeah, right.
Or they're just getting them medications because they was a drug addict and they really don't need them. Or, I don't want to deal with my kid, let's put him on medication. That's the next thing that gets me. is that point right there. I agree, yeah, it is. And a lot of us don't even know we have mental health problems until we're like with legal, probation or something makes you go there. And I don't know, that still right there gives you, like, are you really gonna accept the treatment? Because you're resilient against that. So there's that big whole thing. And then that takes away from people that really do need it, taking that time away. And I think that's where a lot of people are getting not the treatment that they need because probation and making these guys do this stuff. I'm not saying that it won't have a positive outcome, but if they're going to be resilient and everything and end up back in jail and stuff, it's taken away from people like, her that really needs it, that, or somebody that's, also, it's kind of like one of those yes, no, pull here, pull there type thing, because you gotta save this person and then you gotta save that person, but you can't save everybody. So I'm always like, I tried. Let's go on to the next, hopefully they'll come back around, but I think that's a lot of why too, and it's so just freely diagnosed anymore as an excuse more than anything, but then there's stigma, well, you can snap out of it, but go get checked out, it's kind of like a bad, I don't know, there's just a lot of things I see that could be different and could work out better, but it ain't going to. Our population's too, and society made us this way, and now we're bad people.
Yeah, people don't want to pay for it, I'm sure, for the needed treatment, but I just think that, we always trust our own brains, and if your brain isn't working right, you still trust your own brain. People will tell you, oh, you're wrong, you're thinking this, you should think that, but you still end up trusting your own brain, even if it's not right.
Right.
And Pat gave me one of the best explanations, I think, his condition. He said, it's like you going, hey, I'm not holding this phone up. Believe me, I'm not holding this phone up, and wanting him to adopt that. Okay, even though I see him with that phone, he says he's not, so I have to believe that he's not. He said, you know how hard that is to do.
Okay, is it delusional or is it reality?
Yeah.
Sometimes, and yeah, it kind of, you wonder that. I do anyway, sometimes, like when somebody mentions something like that, I'm like, did that really happen? You question your own self then, and that false memory syndrome thing. I had to do a report on that, and I was like, wow. Yeah, and then I would start really questioning my brain, do I have that? But, you don't have to believe it, but do you? Because you second guess yourself. I second guess myself all the time, and I don't know why, but sometimes I'm like, especially when I'm there by myself and I hear noises in my apartment, I'm like, did I really just hear that? When your mind starts playing the tricks on you.
Well, everybody's reality, is their own unique reality, and nobody sees. We could all be perceiving this exact setting right here all differently.
Right.
I was use the example: 2 people witness a car accident, and the police get reports from them, and their eyewitness accounts differ.
Right.
Which one's right?
Right.
Well, in their minds, they're both right.
Right.
So.
Which one's the logical?
Everybody's reality is their own.
Yeah, and that's what makes it, I think, the world differently. It would, like you said, be boring if it was all made the same and stuff like that. I'm glad everybody's different and unique in their own little way, because we can learn from each other in different ways and things. I always say this thing, like, my motto once I came out of this life, we're all writing a book of life. We're all on different chapters and different stories. Some may be just almost the same, some may be totally different, but like right now, I'm helping you write your book. Like, you're the author, I'm helping you right now, you're helping me. And just like everybody else in the room, that chapter we're writing right now is being written. Like, they tell me they want me to write my biography, and I'm like, no, I don't believe in biography. Why? Because my life's still going on. I don't want to have to write next chapters, I don't believe in that, because that means if I write it, I'm gonna stop right there. My life's still going on, I'm not dead yet, so I just don't write it. So I have that belief. That's what I always tell people about life. We're just a big book. We didn't get instruction manuals, but we're writing it for somebody. And that's just how I interpret everything. But going through all that trauma and losing my kids and doing this, all that negativity that I had to, you know, it was training ground for me to come to do this, because I couldn't sit out here and do that if I didn't go through that pain, that suffering, and the outcome of that, to help the next person. So, I don't, to me, that's right. Sounds right, and I guess that's how I deal with it also. But I feel like that's what it was purposefully for. Like, I feel like this is my purpose of life now, is to go out here and do this. People are like, don't you want to get paid for social? No, because I'm happy, I'm serene, you know what I mean? Just doing it just to help the next person. I don't want to get paid for it. Why? Well, don't you think you need to be paid for it? Don't you need a living? Yeah, I mean, it'll happen, but I don't think I need to be paid for something that I'm purposely made for and have the passion and stuff to do, because it'll happen when my time comes. I'll get my payment, you know, and they're just looking at me like, you're really crazy.
Well, people always think, you know, money and things will make them happy, but it's really fulfilling your purpose, and it's usually serving others somehow is where we get our sense of value.
Right, and it does, and it fills a lot of my void and stuff, and helps me understand and cope. And like when I'm going through something, like my friend, classmate takes me, she's bipolar, but she's not on medicine, and we can go to school, react to each other, you know, like, oh my God, that was me last night, and you know, it's okay, you know, to do that. And it, like I was just saying, it's just like my completion, you know. I'm like, okay, this is okay, life. Even though I still like want to put my foot down and argue about, because it didn't go my way, still have trouble with that a little bit, don't we all?
Right.
But, you know, after I blow steam off and, you know, run through the house, running my mouth a little bit, I get it, you know, it's okay. But deep down inside, I know what it is, you know. But, yeah, people just think I'm crazy, and I just think they're crazy, but that's how I see everything. If that's the way I have to go through life like this, I'll do it. Better than out there, you know, what I was going through and things like that. But I do want to go out there and be the positive. I know street outreach, you have to be specially trained out there because of the severity, things like that. But I don't see there's no purpose why you can't say hi to a homeless person or something. I'm really upset with how the homeless here is being handled.
Yeah.
But stigma.
Yeah, we had some of them come visit with us too, and I was stigmatizing the homeless, and I'm always preaching don't stigmatize people. I was stigmatizing those people because my son had just come to me before they came to speak and said, hey, you know, I want to help people who are less fortunate than me, but how do you even identify these people? Right. I said, well, how about the homeless? That's got to be like the bottom rung, right? Yeah. And these people came in here, a lot of them they're living in a tent because they want to, and they're happy there. It may not be much, but that's their tent, and that's their chill spot, and they're not comfortable other places.
Right.
Blew my mind. It's like, I was stigmatizing.
We have a friend.
That's what he chooses because he has an arson on his background. It's hard for him to get housing, which is another, you know. Even like me and him, that we was comfortable. That was our most happiest time there ever was when we was living in that tent, having to lean on each other, figuring out how $5 is gonna feed you and put gas in your car and all these things. We was content, but it takes your soul back to the natural beauty of things also. But there is people out there that's what they're dealing with. They like it. They're okay with it, which is okay too, because that's them. But there's also them people out there that don't know how to come out of it and a lot of people think that their drugs is the reason, and I believe it's not. I believe when they get out there, that's all they see. They see it as a coping mechanism, and they turn to it, as some people. May not all be right, but I think that's a part of it, a little piece of it. And it's just coming back out, you know, the getting out. And I don't know, we used to travel everywhere, and I see these rundown motels. I want a building so bad. I don't know why, but these motels have been on my heart, and they're just, you know, shut down because they didn't make money or something, nothing major. And I'm like, well, why can't we just open up these motels and start with you know, getting the people off the street? Don't tell them go to get drug counseling now. No, because I don't want to hear that. We're going to do it more, you know. just take them in there and shelter them and give them what they need, an individual plan, and then like after 30 days, start the rent. Don't put a whole full payment rent on them because they're gonna stress out. They don't know how to cope with stress. Start with like $10 this month, then the next month, you know, keep going on. I mean, that's some of the things that could be worked out and used. And that's what they need because they're so far stuck down, you know, and society ran them down so much, they don't know how to get back up. You know, and especially with everything else that's starting to go on with that stigma, it's just, California's now got laws out there against the homeless about it, you know, they can't be in certain spots or they'll go to jail. Well, I mean, the homeless wants to go to jail, at least they got a bed and something to eat, you know? Right. So, I'm just like, now we got laws against homeless people? Well, I guess I'm not supposed to say homeless, the social work language is people experience homelessness.
Okay, I haven't heard that.
Yeah, that's what it is, and we don't say like drug addicts, it's person suffering from addiction or because it gives them respect, you know, of that. We don't say victims, we say survivors of.
I know you're not supposed to say committed suicide.
Yeah, things like that. I don't like how they say that clients are now consumers. I don't like that because I'm like, a consumer is somebody buying a product. Yeah, I understand it's still a business.
That's a weird term.
Yeah, I heard that. I'm like, consumer, where's these consumers coming from? Like, you know, the first time I heard it and I read it in the psych book and I'm going, consumers. And it says in there, not clients no more, we're consumers. And I'm going, that just puts another label like on us. And I'm going, I don't want to call my client a consumer. Yeah. I don't even want to be called a consumer. I consume things, you know what I mean? But not like that.
I studied marketing at consumers. Somebody went to the store and bought something.
Yeah.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I'm not like got 20 products here. I might have 20 personalities, but I ain't got products, you know? I mean, I'm not buying and selling that, but yeah, I don't understand how the terminology and stuff is going, and then they expect how to look on other people when you're, and I didn't understand how society changed everybody until I went through sociology. And I'm like, really? Well, now it makes sense, you know, because once you start changing the norm, you know, like the TV start doing, you know, something and society adapts to it and then it slowly changes and then we adapt to it and then it changes us. And it's like, just like, you know, with the same-sex marriages, you know, things like that. We're adapted to it now it's normal. You know, where it used to be not normal because society accepted it. So, I don't know. I guess school helped me a lot, learn a lot of things too, with the situations.
Well, I admire your bravery and all that you've done and continue to do so. Appreciate you coming to speak with us.
You're welcome. And I was supposed to meet the think tank today at the same time.
Oh.
We're getting ready to, the first of the year, hiring people to sit in the libraries now to do social work because there's so much of the homeless people coming around. Our class does it over at Guernsey because they're experiencing the same thing. So Think Tank got a 2-year grant to hire somebody to be in and then one out on the street to do it. So they wanted me to put my input on qualifications and things like that. And I'm like, okay, sure. Well, I forgot I had to speak today. She's like, I'll sign you up for something. And I'm going, oh boy. And she said, you may not like it. Oh God, what is it now? You know?
You're in demand.
Yeah. I mean, I like going to the meetings and stuff like that. I like attending to them. Sometimes I can't because of schoolwork. You know, it's my main focus. Sometimes I do too much in the community and I don't like to say no. Because it keeps me active. It keeps me out of me. And then it's like I said, and talking, and everybody wants me, like with the warming shouting, I'm part of that. And I'm like, oh, as long as it's over email and text, we're good, you know? Yeah. If I have to physically be there, I don't know, you know, but yeah. So I like any opportunity I have to share my story or whatever about it, just so it can, you know, break a little bit of it, show a little bit of light, compassion on the person that's standing out there. And I always say about the trafficker too, they're a person too. You know, even though they're doing evil things and stuff like that, they're still somebody's kid, somebody's something. You know, even though we don't want to think of it like that because of it, but they still are. And it's hard for me to say that because of the awful things, you know, they do. But we still gotta think about them too, also, in a sense.
Well, I'm guessing most people in this community would think it doesn't happen here.
Right.
One
Yeah,
is,
sure.
yeah.
I
Lot
had
more
a,
people in, lot more.
like I said, that, symposium, so October 23rd, well, county commissioner put that one together, you know, and now it don't happen. I said, you want me to tell you how the chief of police sat down there in the corner of the alley eating ice cream cones, watching them go by, which one he wants? Do you want me to tell you how I got picked up by the dog warden? She's like, what? And I'm like, well, you know, what do you want me here for, you know? And one of the girls from the coalition's like, yep, Jill'll tell you what date, time, everything about that. And I'm like, well, what am I sitting here for? If I don't, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I mean, it's reality. You know, he would sit there and eat ice cream, watching us walk up and down, you know what I mean? That's just like a big ring in Portsmouth, that had happened with the judge and attorneys. It's 20 years of this. Megan Lancaster, she's been missing from it. She was part of it. It's been 2 years now, I think it is. We're still looking for her. But they would get picked up for solicitation, and they would say, well, if you do this, we ain't gonna charge you with this, you know, all that big thing. So they took a lot of them down in Portsmouth. But it's true. I mean, it's reality. What are we gonna do?
Right.
It's hard to fight it. That's why I say, you know, we got this big brick wall that's supposed to help us. It was kind of against us and, you know, promote some things. So what's sense to keep banging our head up, you know, let's try a different route, you know?
Whatever we're doing now isn't working.
No.
Or not doing.
Right. You know, a lot of it is,
We'll never stop it.
a lot of it's education, you know, educating the public, our community about it. About any subject that's really going on about our community. A lot of people needs to start caring. Our lives are too fast now, you know, to sit down and care. And that's like I used to say, we used to hear about what the meetings over town, the business meeting stuff, like you don't hear about none of that anymore. You know, what happened to all that, you know,
There's no
publication.
legitimate media anymore.
Well, that's what I mean, like, what's really our town coming to? I mean, the things that's supposed to be businessly ran is starting to fall apart, you know? It's like, what are we really gonna do? You know, some of the things I think about, I don't like politics, but, I'm kinda biased against, I don't understand them, I don't believe them. I feel like it's just a big movie show, they already know. Listen to voting, but I'm supposed to vote because I'm a social worker, my input's supposed to count.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm just like this little person down there, you know. That's like I had a event out in Cambridge a couple weeks ago because they ain't got nobody out there, and I invited everybody. I had Mike DeWine, I got everybody's email and typed it in there. I told my mom, I said, only one I didn't invite was the president. I didn't find his email. My mom's like, no, you didn't. Of course, none of them showed up. But still, I did it, you know, and it was like, I was kept waiting to see a response yet, what would happen, but, like, well, I met him in prison through a human trafficking class, you know, I figured it might help, since he's doing all this, why can't we get some of that funding down here to start things? Why there's no big commitment, you know, I mean, down here to do anything. And a few ladies that are saying community on the coalition, I give props to them, because they have, one's out of Franklin County, we got Perry County, you know, we're like, I don't feel like we should be a 3-county person right now. I think we should just be 1 county and then expand out, but, they're trying it, but nobody knows they're here, you know? I told them to get out to events and things, let people know, start trusting you. No, we ain't got time, we don't be out there on the street outreach. If you wanna do it, you can do it. I said, well, I'll do it. That's why I step out and do my own little bit, because I felt like I was losing life. Like I was losing my purpose, I was being defeated. But I still do things with them also. I just can't be idle about the situation. I'm more proactive about it, spreading the word, so.
When you care about something,
Yeah.
easy to stay fired up.
Yeah, it's motivation, you know, and it's my life, you know, it was my past. And I'm sure, like I said, the book we're writing here, I'm sure somebody's right along there with me, it's just not there yet. We're all like that, but I just hope, you know, you guys got a better understanding and, know that things are, just because we're out here, traumatized, we still have the mental health and everything also, and there's still things that needs to be played, and mental health is still a good thing that's in life that needs to be more aware of on other people also. The stigma does need to kind of stop a little bit, especially with
It comes with education.
yeah, and especially with the dual diagnosis thing. There's a lot of stigma with that, but a lot of people are that way, because of the outbreak and stuff of happening, so.
Well, I used to hear the dual diagnosis will be like 80% of the people, but lately, I've had mental health professionals say, I think it's pretty close to 100%.
Well, we just did Steve Carroll runs our addiction class.
Sure.
And, of course, I'm in that too, and I'm like, yep, I know about this, and my son, I failed that part in psych, and my son's like, Mom, he was a drug addict. I'm like, yeah, I went there to get high, not educated. I didn't want to know what it did to me, I just want to know how it felt, and, so we was talking about that yesterday, and that was our topic, was, dual diagnosis, how, with schizophrenia, and how it runs together, and now more people are dual diagnosed than it was common. And they was like, why do you think that? And I'm like, well, back in the 60s and stuff, we could use drugs and cope with whatever and, go have jobs and normal lives. Now we don't know how to cope, we don't know how to handle anything, when you're using drugs. It's not the difference, the strength and everything that plays along with it. That's why I think it's more, because anymore, I think when a person has a problem that's not, they just automatically automatically run to whatever is there, maybe by their surrounding peer pressure, people around them, maybe, or whatever, but I think that's what happened, they just run to a self-medicating, whether it be over-the-counter Tylenol PM or something, what I mean? I think that's what the coping happened. They forgot how to cope. And I know with our younger generation, they quit teaching life skills in our high schools and stuff now. So there's a big thing where they're coming out of high schools and not knowing how to get a job, not knowing where to go because the parents kick them out when they're 18.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked my son that. I said, how many of your age is living but still parents or the other parent or friends? And he's like, I think about 500 here in the county, Mom. I was like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah. So I ride the bus a lot downtown, and I see a lot of 18-year-olds, they can't get into the Salvation Army because they smoke weed, they don't know what to do. Can I stay at your place? And I'm like, I don't have room, but here's my number. And, I see a lot of people like that through that bus station there, and it's just like, think about their mental state, and they're not gonna know how to get treatment, because they don't even know what to do.
Well, they say that your brain stops maturing at whatever age you start using drugs.
So I'm still 21?
Yeah.
Oh, good. I hope I still look like it. Now I know why I'm so energized sometimes. Yeah. Yeah, that's true, but you can always bring it back too also, you know what I mean? I don't think it'll ever fully come back, but I do believe it comes back to a certain point.
Yeah, well, it just stalls, I think.
Yeah, I know. Well, I told them they did CT and stuff on my brain. I'm like, yep, my gray and black matters are even. It's all good up there. The bridge is connected. I said, see, I told you I got a brain, Mom. They look at me when I go to the hospital like, really? I'm like, where's my robot? Because I always say every time I go to the hospital, I'm sick with my kidney disease. I'm like, got my robot yet? Like, why can't you just, make me a robot? So I'm in there, and they actually bring a robot in so I can talk to a doctor over the screen. I'm like freaking out. You know what I mean? I'm like, what's this thing going in here? What's it going to do to me? And that's just my coping mechanism, things. So.
Yeah, I'm being slowly rebuilt. I've had like 9 surgeries, so very few of the original parts anymore.
Yeah, so you're about just a robot.
Yeah, almost.
I'm sure probably one day we'll be there. We will be robots or take over the jobs.
Yeah.
Thank God, knock on wood, I ain't had none, I have neck problems and stuff too, but I've got mine were mild, so where I can get physical therapy and stuff. But kidney stones and this kidney disease is enough to drive you nuts, you know what I mean? I'll always have kidney stones in both of my kidneys. So it's like every now and again, you know, they get stuck.
It's really
and
painful, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I got 11 millimeter one in there right now. I said, it's not done, I'm just hanging out. Just let it hang out. The girl just like, let's go put stents in, you know, sound blasted. Nope. Ain't causing me no problems right now. They're hanging out. I like them hanging out there. Just let them be, you know. They're like, okay. So, yeah, I'm a little weird. You know, it's funny because I read in psych about how people relate to aliens, with the mental health things and stuff. That was one of my things, like talking to aliens when I was a kid. My mom was like, yeah, she really did it. My son's like, Mom, was you schizo when you was a kid? Really, you really talking to aliens? I'm like, look, I was the only kid in my house. I didn't retain myself somehow, you know what I mean? And it's funny because every time I read an article or something that refers back to an alien, I'm like, wonder why that's all, how's that related to a mental health thing, you know, that situation? I never figured that in.
My girlfriend always talks to the utility pool, she said.
Really?
She needed a friend who was the utility pool.
Really? Hey, if it works.
Yeah, well, I had 150 brothers and sisters, so I didn't have to look far.
Right. Wow.
We all live in a small shoebox in the middle of the road.
I used to say, now look, if I start telling you who my friends are, like Jenny and Anna and Louise, and the rest of them we're trying, you know, I'm trying to get to know them, then we'll talk, you know, and they're like, what? So I'm getting to know my other personalities. I named them now, you know?
Oh, okay.
So when I get down to like the 20th one, you know, now I'll get to know where I'm at.
That's good identifying.
You know, and you get to know yourself, you know, make friends
Yeah,
with it, and then
right.
you get to know the next one, and they're looking at me like, who's all these people you just said? Like, never mind, you didn't get it.
I get along with myself so well, it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
We like the same things. I'm usually around.
Yeah, until we just, you know, disagree on things, and it's like, wow, now you're arguing with yourself, and then you got Jenny coming in over here, and then Mary Lou, you know, I say that, and people are like, it's okay. Yeah, it's just fun and games.
Yeah.
Until you're really sitting in that room and you're arguing with yourself, you know?
Yeah.
You look at yourself in that mirror like, whoa.
Right.
Am I really doing this? Yeah. He doesn't pay attention to me much anymore. My son's like, Mom, I'm not discussing anything to you because it's too technical for you and I don't understand what you're saying. And I'm like, okay, we got this understanding. But,
Well, I know you mentioned the ride. It's 2:30. I don't know.
yeah,
if,
it's fine.
Okay.
I ain't got nothing else to do but homework.
Okay, I didn't know if you had somebody waiting on you.
No, she took her cat to the vet yesterday. She got stabbed 18 times.